Hello, welcome back. As I promised in my last video, I'm going to take out completely a fresh problem statement. Basically an entire application from the scratch where I'm going to ideate, build and do the deployment right in front of you in my system. Like in fact I don't have any code, neither any of the prompts. Everything what I'm going to do will be completely fresh for me as well. That's what I'm going to do. And in fact even like there are certain things that will go right and that will completely go wrong as well. I'm completely fine with it. And all those things I'm going to, like, this is my first session in this episode, and the subsequent sessions in this episode will contain all the different set of things that I'm going to build. And I can promise you by end of this session you will be completely in a position to understand how I am actually building the application, and you can also build it yourself. And for this I am going to use Claude as my AI assistant. You can also use any other AI subscription accounts like either Cursor or Codex or whatever is there. You can completely use it. Of course it does require some subscription accounts, because there are a lot of things that we are actually going to do. Let me log into my Claude account. Right now we'll be using Claude.ai. Of course I will be downloading the Claude code as well. uh, but let's begin with the Claude.ai application. Before I explain the problem, I'll try to get you an idea around what we're actually trying to do. I think most of you have gone to your friends, have gone out like with your friends, and you want to kind of split the bill, right? Again, it's not just splitting. Like suppose say there are you go to a restaurant and like few have purchased few of the specific items, and the splitting should happen based on the consumption of the people. Like that is something, an idea which we are trying to keep it. And like this is the first part, and second part is we are also going to add an additional functionality of, you just take a photo of the bill, and based on that, whatever the uh, items that are there, they should get populated, and like based on who have consumed, the finally the bill splitting should happen. This is something as a plan we are trying to go ahead and work on it. Yeah, before that I will create it as a project. Okay, I mean project has its own advantages, like you can create multiple charts. Of course you can go ahead and create it as a chart, but let me create it as a project. Okay, I'll tell you there are different reason. Like let me give it as a split bill. Yeah, for now it is a web application is what we are actually ideally concentrating, and slowly we can move into a mobile application as well. Of course there are a lot of instructions which can be given. I don't want to write anything right now. I will explain you why. Because I also want to get these instructions being written from a Claude itself. We will see how. Okay, so now of course like you can actually select the models for this. Like yeah, before that I will explain you around what exactly is happening right now. See, any application or anything that you want to build, right? What is the first thing that goes in? Is it the code? Absolutely not. It's more into what you can build, and why you want to build, and who are your end customers, who are the ones who are going to use it. That is something what we are actually planning to think on, right? Like this is the first set of thinking that should happen. And of course with AI coming into picture, now the only thinking that happens is on this particular side, because development has become completely easy. Now let us try to see how we can think on this. I mean, if you look at the entirely, like most of you might be working in the corporate, where you look at is basically there are people like product managers, business analysts, who are ideally working on the business analyst, like they move more or less into understanding what the customers need and what solution is something that is required to be done. And again on the product management side, what can be put on a product, even though some solution is required for the customer, but you have to come via different way. Like you have to have something as a different feature, because people are already using it. Like these are some of the roles that we are going to play, and these roles are being played right now by the cloud. Yes, I kept it as opus since this is a thinking task, because that the like judgment is something that is been there, like a lot of the decision thinking needs to happen. That's where I kept it. Of course, depending on the different research what you need to do, you can increase the like effort from low, medium, high, whatever it is. I will keep it as medium because we already know more about the concept and what we are trying to do. Suppose say you are actually doing a completely a new market research, then of course you can go with a different efforts as well. As long like the more you do it, the more tokens will go. So now before I proceed, right, I want to tell the cloud that it should think like a product manager and should also think like a business analyst. And I also want the entire discussion to happen. It should challenge my assumptions. It should come up with something that's right. Like it should be more of a co-discussion with that. I'm going to give a simple prompts, not like some too hefty prompts, like just the normal conversation. Now, I want you to think like a product manager as well as a business analyst, where you are not only trying to understand the user problems or where the product is being used. Along with that, I also want you to think like a product owner of what can be given, what cannot be given based on the different feasibility. And throughout this discussion, we are trying to understand and ideate. So, I want you to be a co-discuss person who can discuss with me, who can challenge my assumptions, and also think in a different directions, which may or may not change the trajectory of the product. Yes. I have given the role as what we are doing, and like I also told what are we supposed to do. Let me just go ahead. Okay, like I will talk about the problem later. Yeah, now I am going to talk about the problem, right? Like I will talk about. Yeah, now I will go ahead and talk to you more on the problem side, right? We are planning to build a bill split application. That is, let us take an assumption. You go to a restaurant and you upload the bill. But people, several people have consumed several things. So we ideally want to split as per the consumption. So that is something what we are planning to solve. I want you to think more on what can be done, what cannot be done. And right now, initially, we are planning to build it as a web application. Of course, we have a plan to launch. However, this is also an application that will also be built as a part of the learning. So I also gave a context because it should not also think like it should not think more on actually the feasibility side and a marketing side, because there are lots of challenges, and actually the discussion going to like the entire discussion what it is going to have is going to be completely long. That's why I told like it's a learning application as well, so that we are also keeping the features to a limited extent. So this is where I described, and I also told what I need from Claude and how I like what are some things that I'm expecting. See, I am picking this application as a part of the teaching and learning experiment. Of course, the ones that are told by you are completely valid. However, I want to build an application which can be deployed and can be used as well. So that is my entire assumptions. I'm not interested in building or linking the UPI at this moment. So consider these things and you can try to tell me what can be the different features that are required to be built. See, because like it also thought from a business analyst, and it was actually able to come up with lot of the pushbacks and the kind of genuine discussions which are actually required. Also, we have certain time constraint, so that's why we will plan it out what can be pushed in V1, V2, and V3. So we will keep it as the V1 features for now. Yeah, it is pushing back me on one thing. We will not keep the quantity level splitting. Rest of the features what you have described seems to be fine. It's pushing me back on things which I told that I think I don't want to keep the quantity level splitting. It is telling me that keep the quantity level splitting. I think it's better to keep it. Let me add it. Yeah, it's right to keep the quantity level splitting. Let us go with the particular split order which you give. Yeah, of course. See, I think this is a really how things do happen, right? It's not just one polished prompt that will help you. It's about like you give a prompt, still get a pushback, and then you change your entire thinking strategy, because that's how an entire things are getting built, and like that's what happens in reality. Yeah, it is telling that the participants are bill scoped and not global. This completely makes sense because uh, like nobody is going to log into an application where they are going to just use it at once. That's completely makes sense. And this is something which was completely suggested by the cloud itself. Like it's actually trying to uh, add the database as well. Now I will go and tell like architecture is something that will be thought later. Now, I want you to think only from the use case and product perspective, and I don't want you to think on architecture at this point, so that we can completely finalize the PRD and the BRD. We will revisit the architecture, but before that, let us get to documents. And like it's clearly going into the PRD direction. Rather than touching it item by item, you go with person by person. That's really a nice flow to keep it. So there are certain questions that are asked, like it is asking the C self claim in V1 or it is explicitly deferred. Yes, we are not going to take it. We are not going to add the self claim in the V1. Again, organizer's bill history is also not in V1. Of course, we are also going to add the bill scan, but that will be at the end of the system. Initially, there has to be a scope for adding the items manually as well. Once the manual action is done and it is working fine, on the top of that, we are going to add the scan, take a photo, and a bill has to get generated. That's how the plan is to build the application. Yeah, regarding the scan, it's actually asking a lot of things. We will keep it in as V2. Scanning something, we'll keep it in V2. Scanning is something which we will keep it in V2. For now, we will just go with adding the items manually and splitting it. Because it gave me a lot of these pushbacks on what are the ways, like because that is still not a completely a cooked thing, so that's why it is came up with like the different consequences, and for us it's all about how fast we can move and how fast we can get the things done. Let us get both BRD as well as PRD as a downloadable document. We can't always give a perfect prompt. Some things will definitely get missed out, but it's all about how we are able to drive the things in a way via the prompting what we give. It's completely able to generate a business requirement document, like a proper document, right? I mean, with the scopes of whatever we have completely defined, right? Like, and same way the PRD as well, right? Like for the entire things. I mean, yeah, I think yes. This is something like which we are ideally able to, like right now we are able to generate the BRD as well as PRD for the our like V1 development. And of course, let us meet in the next video using these specific documents. How we can actually plan out. Let us also start the development process in the next set of the video.